Hello, creatives. Here we have another exciting drawing I just did like a couple of minutes ago. This drawing has to do with trust. And, we're trying to situate here from a Carl Gustav Jung creative imagination, uh, creating an artifact on paper and letting the unconscious speak. Uh, there's been a lot of drama and a lot of issues with feelings here with the model and the artist, or you can read it. You can read it however you want to look at it. But the moral of the drawing is it's a quantum drawing, and the displacement of the relationship here is that there's not really a relationship where here's a singularity. Um, this is very important. There's a loop, quantum geometry. The person goes into a black hole. There's a couple of things that happen when you shut down with ego and you go extreme. You go extreme. Either you get extreme pissed off, or you get extreme disconnected, or you go into this part of not caring, not bringing any new material to inspire the relationship, to inspire the artist, and it could be vice versa. It has something to do with gender roles here. It has to do with inspiration and energy. Uh, Obviously, the model has behaved completely inappropriate. Uh, she has shut down all vehicles of communication. So the artist here is looking this way, no longer looking here. The artist has checked out. This is really, I find this very, very, very interesting and very psychoanalytical. Um, there's something about in the Bible that it says, "Be have the wisdom of a serpent and be unharmful like a dove." Um, and here I see the wisdom of reacting emotionally, where the what it appears. This is something I just picked up on, and I went in there, um, like a serpent, where you learn to use the wisdom of the serpent, but really have the behavior of a dove, completely unharmful, and completely in control of the emotions, and really being wise about your emotions, and really holding your ground, and really having boundaries. Um, these boundaries are set. We call them in quantum mechanics. We call them, or in conformal mapping, hyperbolic geometry. We call them singularities. They're basically boundaries, where geometry says here we stop. Geometry stops, and then there is an optimistic nature, a probability factor of starting over again. Okay. I think when trust is collapse, I think it's very important to set those singularity boundaries that are really universal energies, and uh, really create that distance, a distance that is very important for the healing process. But when you get into your emotions, and once we get into our emotions, and we see it, I'm seeing it from a psychoanalytical perspective based on Carl Gustav Jung creative imagination. Once you let the unconscious speak, you're really going into the realm of doing shadow work. And you can see here a little bit of the shadow here. The quantum. Every time I start laying out a drawing, I see, I start with a shadow. I start with shadows. And from shadows, I start bringing in form and content. Uh, Nothing is preconceived. It starts with very whimsical energies, very light, gestural loops and circles that later on they become more form and content. And what we're looking is not for a portrait or a self-portrait or a portrait with a model. What we're looking is for within the artifact, looking for how do we learn to see ourselves, right? Ourselves. How do we learn to see ourselves? Then, when we see ourselves, then we can see the other. Then we can see the other. And this is really important for drawing. When you learn to see within, one great way to do that is doing self-portraits on a daily basis. And it's very different than looking in the mirror. When you start with a self-portrait, you start really thinking about who you are. And like this line here kind of reminded me of a spiral, a structure that has incredible symbolisms. And then the more I looked at it, it kind of looked like a serpent, like a snake on a tree, right? And these are tools that are very important because the certain symbolisms are actually, once we work with our shadow, we can use the symbolism of a serpent, then a dove, a pigeon, and have the balance that will become the extreme balance of good and evil, light and darkness, God and the devil, etc., etc. So I leave you with this, something to think about. Trust is earned, it's not a given. And very quickly, when people violate the respect of trust, a lot of times they get into a black hole where there's really no exit in a black hole. You can't get out of a black hole. Thank you for watching.